week we talked about the science of soap, and this week we're going to use that previous experiment as background information for a new experiment. This time we're talking about soap versus hand sanitizer. So let's get started. Alright, so to recap our background from last week, we put water and black pepper in a small container, and then we tested to see what the effect would be if we just dipped our finger in, and then if we dipped our finger covered with soap in the water. We learned that the hydrophobic and hydrophilic ends of soap molecules cause the surface tension of the water to be disrupted and the pepper to spread out. So last week we talked about the science of soap. Since we use hand sanitizer as an alternative for cleaning our hands, this experiment last week got me wondering about how hand sanitizer affects the surface tension of water and what the science behind hand sanitizer is. Let's make a hypothesis. Do you think that hand sanitizer will have the same effect on the surface tension of water as the soap did? Why or why not? This is a good time for you to pause the video and write down your hypothesis in our Google Classroom worksheet. My hypothesis, which can be different from yours, is that if I use a hand sanitizer, the surface tension isn't going to get disrupted. The reason why I think this is that I know that in the active ingredients, alcohol is the main ingredient for hand sanitizer. And what I know about alcohol molecules is that they don't have the same hydrophobic and hydrophilic properties that soap molecules do. But let's see if I am right or wrong. Here are the materials that you're going to need to do your experiment. Okay, so let's do this experiment. I'm going to start with my dish and pour a little bit of water in, just like we did last week. And then I'm going to pour enough black pepper to coat the top of the water. Okay, and you can see that here. Okay, my control group is when I don't add any independent variables. So I'm going to take my finger, dip it in the pepper water, and observe that my finger is now coated in pepper. Surface tension of the water was not disrupted. I rinsed my finger off, and now I'm going to put soap on it to replicate what we did last week. So, putting soap on my finger, and I'm covering my fingertip in soap. Now I'm going to dip my finger in the water, and you can see the surface tension was really disrupted, and I didn't really get any soap on my finger. I rinsed off my finger again very thoroughly so I don't have any soap left on my finger, and I also rinsed and reset my pepper water dish. Okay, now I'm going to do the same procedure but coat my finger in hand sanitizer instead. So let's see how this goes. It's a little more jelly. Okay, and finger is coated, and let's dip. Okay, the surface tension still got disrupted. I wonder why. Another part of the experiment that we did last week was looking at how water and oil mix when we don't or when we do add soap. So to recap, oil is less dense than water, and so it floats on a layer above the water. This remains the same even if I mix the oil and the water. You can see here. Okay, when we add the soap, like I'm going to do into this second cup, 2, 3, 4, 5 squirts of soap, I'm going to mix that. And this has a very different effect than when I don't add anything. Let's see what happens when we add hand sanitizer to this third cup. 4, 5, 6. All right, so what are our observations? record them in your results table. So we finished doing our experiment. Our original question was, does hand sanitizer affect the surface tension of water? And our overarching question for the purpose of doing these experiments was, how do hand sanitizer and soap compare when we clean our hands? Think about the results of our experiment and what you know about hydrophobic and hydrophilic molecules as you answer the questions in your conclusion. Take this time now to type your answer out, and we'll talk about the scientific reasoning in just a sec. So what is the scientific reasoning? When we started off the experiment, I told you that alcohol doesn't have hydrophobic and hydrophilic ends like soap does. So hand sanitizer and soap shouldn't react the same way. When we mixed the pepper water and added the hand sanitizer, it still disrupted the surface tension of the water. But when we mixed the oil and water with soap, and then the oil and water with hand sanitizer, we saw that they did have different effects. So, hand sanitizer, I might have mentioned, is made out of 63% alcohol. That's just the kind that I have. Yours might have more or less. That means that the rest of the hand sanitizer is made out of different ingredients. And some of these ingredients here do have hydrophobic and hydrophilic properties. What this means for our oil, water, and hand sanitizer or soap part of our experiment is that they're not going to react the same way because this has a much lower amount of hydrophobic and hydrophilic molecules than regular soap does. But we also don't always use hand sanitizer with water, or I definitely don't. So, you can make your own conclusion about which you think is the best for cleaning our hands, soap or hand sanitizer. You can do background research from outside of this video, and you can cite what I'm telling you all in your conclusion. I hope you guys enjoyed doing this experiment with me this week, and I hope that you are healthy and safe at home, enjoying your time with your family. This week, our shout out goes to Abukasim and Emily for being the first to comment on the Google Classroom. Make sure that you are doing the assignment on Google Classroom and staying up to date through there if you want to keep on learning with us this quarter, all right? Stay safe. I miss you guys so much, and I love you. Bye. That's all for now.